101 TKO Radio, good morning. It's Monday, July 11th, and we are in the building. Yes, yes, yes. We are back. It was an amazing weekend we had. We went to the Tasty Notes events. The whole crew was there. Liddy in the City was on the microphone. The whole 101 TKO Radio was there. So shout out to everyone for coming out and supporting. And in fact, I also have King James Worthy coming later on this afternoon. But this morning, we're going to kick it off with the one and only Lisa Wilson from Epitome Risk. I am going to wait to get her in the studio before I give this bomb introduction. But in the meantime, I had to pop back in and let you guys know that I am in studio. We're about to go lock and load heavy. We are actually doing a campaign right now called Share Your Screen. Hashtag Share Your Screen. So what that means is we are asking you guys to actually go on your internet browser, type in 101 TKO Radio, and from there screenshot it and simply post it to your story and tag us. Put it on your Facebook page, your Instagram page, your TikTok page, whatever kind of page you got, you just post it there. What else got going on? We got to talk about these nails I got going on too. They are flyer than a little bit. I ain't gonna tell you how I use the bathroom with it, but anyway, that's another story. So, with that being said, I gotta pop out. I'm going to get my guests. Make sure you guys get ready for an amazing show. It's your girl, I am Chelsea Speaks on 101 TKO Radio, knocking them out the box. All right, y'all. I'm getting.
Speaking the mic for me.
Oh, hello, my name is Lisa Wilson. Thank you for having me.
She sounds so
four, three, two, one.
101 TKO Radio. Good morning. It's your girl. I am Chelsea Speaks. Happy Monday morning, July 11th. We are in the building. I am super excited. Our special guest is here, Lisa Wilson. Are you guys ready for a show you will not forget? Welcome, Lisa.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
I love it. I'm so excited to have you. So much ground to cover. You are a phenomenal woman, a true creative, and I just love meeting women that are dope because my brand is Women Are Dope. So DOPE stands for Divine, Overachievers, Propelling in Excellence. So with Epitome Risk, everything you do, I see is completely excellent. So we're going to dive into some conversation because we got a lot of stuff to talk about. But first, I'm going to break the ice a little bit. You okay with that?
Yeah, I love it.
Okay, so I always ask my guests 3 questions every time they come on the show. You ready?
I'm ready.
The first question is, what's your favorite position? Think about it. It's the facial.
CEO.
There you go. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Give it a hand clap. Smart, smart, smart. Okay, second question. Who is your celebrity crush?
Ooh, that's a good one. Chris Hemsworth.
Okay, Chris. Okay, we'll take a look, Chris. Okay. Third question. If you could have been in any other career field, what would it have been?
I was in social work for a while.
Really?
Yeah, and I really loved it. So probably social work.
Wow.
Yeah.
So social work to risk management, we got to talk about that journey right there. But first, I got to tell our listeners what company you're with. You're Epitome Risk. Go ahead and give us the rundown of what you guys do so our listeners can hear.
Absolutely. So Epitome Risk, we handle risk management for television and film and professional sports. So we do everything from rappelling into volcanoes, tagging tiger sharks. We handle COVID compliance. We own our own testing lab, actually here in Atlanta.
Wow.
So we do a lot of COVID testing as well. And we do script analysis and just handle risk all the way around.
Wow. You know, you never stop to think that there's risk management for movies, let alone with the pandemic. We're just so busy watching the movies. We don't think about the background process of what happened. So it's a funny story how I found you for everybody out there. So I was scrolling TikTok. It was like maybe 4 o'clock in the morning and I'm under my covers. You know, I couldn't sleep. You know, you be on TikTok for like an hour and then you look up, it's 3 hours.
Yes.
And so I come across this Wizard of Oz video and there's this gorgeous lady and she's talking about the backstory of the Wizard of Oz and even Judy Garland and a pack of cigarettes a day. I was floored by the information you provided and what you do. So how did you even start, or get the creativity to start making videos like that on TikTok?
Yeah, well, TikTok has been a thing that we wanted to do for a while, and then all of a sudden we just decided let's go. And apparently, I had to be the face, so let's just go. So we have an amazing writer on staff. His name is Brian Smolensky. Shout out to Brian.
Hey, Brian.
And he has over 20 years of experience in TV and film. He's a producer. He's written his own film. It's actually on Amazon.
Okay.
He's a lot of experience. So he has an extensive catalog of knowledge when it comes to the history of things with risk and things that went wrong.
Wow.
So he writes a lot of our blogs and we take a lot of our content from that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is quite a crafty approach because, for businesses now, you have to look at unorthodox ways for getting your company out there. So you guys doing that video and you doing that video was a great example of how companies are taking different strides to get their businesses out there.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. In the industry, too, we're trying to really make change because the U.S. is the only country in the world that does not have risk management required on set. Yeah, every other country, you have to have a risk manager on set that their only job is risk. The U.S. is the only country that doesn't require it.
Even with the pandemic, we still didn't have anyone?
So now, with the pandemic, it's required to have a COVID officer. If you were associated with the SAG, like a Screen Actors Guild type film, then you have to have somebody. But before that, no.
Oh, my goodness. So let's talk about how you got into risk management for movies. Where did the information, where did the journey start?
So my business partner, Mike Millette, he's actually on an international project right now. So hi, Mike, if you're watching. He's been doing this for about 15 years now, doing the dynamic piece. So he's a retired Army Ranger. Many members of our staff are actually retired military.
Wow.
Yeah, Special Forces, so a very large percentage. So they know risk inside and out. They do a lot of, they're munitions experts, they're, security experts, everything like that. So he has been doing this. He's one of maybe 6 people in the whole world that at the level that he is. So, especially when the pandemic happened, we were just getting like so many requests for, COVID officers or things like that, that we were
Yeah.
just like turning away business. We thought, let's just start Epitome. Let's just wrap it all up into one thing. So
Yeah.
that's how we started.
Wow. So you saw the need was there for the service and you guys came all together.
Yeah.
Do you think that it's, ironic that you have so many special forces people, like out of all the people that could have been a part, you got some truly trained people. Do you find that interesting?
I think it really sets us apart. There's a lot of like COVID companies. I'm going to use like air quotes as I'm saying that that popped up. And it's great. There was a need for it, and people saw it. But where we are set apart is that we have true risk managers on our staff. People that have protected our country.
Yeah.
So they know risk inside and out. So we're a risk management company who happened to do COVID during COVID, not the other way around.
Got it, got
Yeah.
it. Well, if I was going to be in anybody's hands, I'd like to be in the hands of Epitome Risk. So let me just say that. So along with my show, we also do national holidays. We're going to mix it up a little bit. So I'm going to tell you the national holidays. Tell me what you think about it.
Okay.
So today is National State Fair Food Day.
Ooh.
When's the last time you went to a state fair?
Oh my gosh.
And what food did you
probably
have?
Funnel cake.
Okay.
Hello.
Can you eat the whole thing?
Oh my god. I do, but then I pay the price later.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna say a little suspect there.
I love funnel cake, but probably like 2018. I probably last
Okay.
time I was at State Fair. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Today is also National Cheer Up the Lonely Day. When was the last time you cheered up a lonely person?
Oh man. Well, unfortunately, my mother passed this past February, and my dad has been very, very lonely. So we're constantly cheering up. We went to the beach a few days ago, so we're always trying to cheer up my dad.
How's
so
he hanging in there?
He's doing well. He's doing well. Yeah.
Good. And today is also International Essential Oils Day. Are you a fan of essential oils?
I am.
What's your favorite
actually.
scent?
I like frankincense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Jesus, frankincense, and myrrh. Okay, that's what he brought him at the manor, at the manger. Okay. I'm a eucalyptus mint type person. Just
Ooh.
depends on what mood. You know what I'm saying?
In the shower,
Yes.
eucalyptus is really good.
Those little shower fuzzes that you can drop down and the scents just come up. Now, one time I thought I was risking my life in there because it started foaming up, and I was like, I'm gonna have to call Lisa on standby because this is not doing, it's not giving what it's supposed to give. And today, last but not least, today is National Mojito Day. What is your favorite drink?
I love pineapple mojitos, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pineapple mojitos.
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
So good.
I'm gonna have to try that. Nelly, write that down for me. I love that. Well, we're gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we're gonna talk some more to Miss Lisa Wilson, CEO of Epitome Risk, and why you should stop risking your life and tune in to 101 TKO Radio. We'll be back in a minute. 101 TKO Radio, good morning. Welcome back in the building. We are in the space, in the ring. Miss Lisa Wilson of Epitome Risk. Hi, Lisa.
Hello.
Listen, you know, it's messed up because the conversation off air is just as good as a conversation on air. So if you guys are listening, just don't worry. We're going to keep it coming. So let's talk some more about risk management and what's been going on in these unions that have formed. So with risk management, have you guys seen an increase in it, and that's where unions began to form, or how did that whole process
So the unions
start?
formed a while ago, and for different reasons. And, you know, I talk a lot about in The Wizard of Oz, a lot of the issues with things like the makeup, the Tin Man. You know, the original Tin Man was not the Tin Man that we saw in the final movie. It was because he was poisoned by the aluminum powder that was in the makeup.
Aluminum powder.
Yeah, that's how they made it look metallic. That's what they were using. So he was breathing it in so much that he ended up, you know, having lung problems.
Wow.
So when he couldn't come back, they brought on, you know, who we now know and love as the Tin Man. And now the unions require that you cannot bring on another actor unless you tell them why the first actor was no longer taking the role.
Wow.
So a lot of positive things have come from the mistakes of early Hollywood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So with your role, what does a typical day for you look like at Epitome Risk?
Yeah. So we get a lot of scripts ahead of time. So when things are, before they're even in pre-production. So we get the script, we do a script analysis from a risk perspective, to say, hey, you know, this might not look risky to you, but this is all the things that we're seeing. Walking through the grass in a field. Okay, are you looking for snakes? Are you checking out for things like that?
Wow.
Things that you wouldn't be thinking of normally. What are you doing about ticks? Ticks are a bigger problem than you think they are.
Really?
Yeah. So we write the script analysis, we break it down by scene, and then we do a whole risk assessment from there. And then we usually send someone out to the pre-production tech scout for all the locations to say, okay, this is what we saw in the script, but now we're seeing the location. These are the things that we're seeing here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how long does that process generally take?
Yeah. So the script analysis takes a couple of days.
Okay.
Risk assessment can take about a week once we have boots on the ground. They're looking at the locations. And then from there, we usually send somebody to the production to just be the eyes and ears, because once someone's in that creative space, it's really tough to see outside of the creative.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard to see that. You know, when COVID first happened and we were first getting back to set, everybody, like, all of a sudden, people were so afraid of COVID, but you'd have to remind them to put a mask on, and they'd be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Because they were just so used to using the cameras.
Right.
You know, they were like, I'm in my zone using my camera.
I'm not even thinking about it.
Exactly. So that happened all the time.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, those are the things you don't think about, you know, how COVID affected production and things like that. So what has been your favorite production, if you're allowed to say so, thus far that you've worked on?
I can name some like funny stories that have happened, but so we were on a set during COVID, and the director was like, I'm taking this so seriously, COVID, we're taking it so seriously. But they had the idea that the talent in the scene were going to play beer pong.
Okay.
Which is not a COVID friendly.
No, I was say, I don't think that's not COVID friendly, is it?
Probably the opposite of COVID
even
friendly.
though alcohol is being taken.
And the second the words came out of his mouth, he was like, can I just bring them back? I'm so sorry. Like, I take it all back. What can we do? And we actually worked out a way that they could play beer pong in a COVID safe way. It was different, and then you do a little bit of a trick with the camera, and then it looked like the real thing. So that way, it didn't look like we were filming during COVID. So.
Wow. Yeah. So with your job, like, do you also like look at footage with the camera crews as well? Because I hear you talking about production. Are you also part of production too in that aspect, where you get to kind of sit back and watch as they're filming?
So a lot of our people out in the field, they will give suggestions. Say, hey, listen, maybe use a different lens. Maybe do a longer shot. Maybe you can cheat it this way. We've had some situations where, with bullets, okay, maybe we're not going to actually use bullets or, any type of munition, but we can shine a light through a hole and make it look like the bullet went through, and do cheats like that. So we give recommendations along those lines, yeah.
You know what? I wish I had a cheat sheet for my last relationship, because I probably would have come out a lot stronger, a little bit better than that, you know what I'm saying? So with your profession, risk management, what was it first like, your first time taking on your first project and really stepping into the field?
So our first project in COVID happened in June of 2020. It was one of the very first productions to come back, and we had to follow around a bunch of teenagers to multiple cities.
How was that?
It was.
How were your nerves?
It was.
You okay? Blink if you're scared.
Somehow, all of the employees that we had working on that are still with us. I don't know how we managed.
Bonding time, definitely bonded, probably.
Yeah, so it was challenging. We went into major cities like Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, and we had about, I think, 10 to 15 teenagers. So you're dealing with the whole teenage element, and then also all the people. And when you're outside in a city, people are wanting to know, what are you doing? You have a lot of looky-loos and trying to get a barrier and make sure you don't have everybody on top of everyone. So it was really interesting, and it was great to be one of the first to set the standard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So with Epitome Risk, why that name? I'd have my reason thinking, but where did it come from?
So the epitome, the apex of what we're doing, and since we have so many veterans amongst us, they are at the epitome of their
Top
game.
tier.
They are the epitome of what they do, and every day we try to be the epitome of everything that we're bringing on. Like I said, we do COVID testing. We got sick of using outside labs because other labs just did not understand the film industry at all. If you need to test at 2 a.m., labs aren't open at,
Right.
I've been on many 2 a.m. calls with producers freaking out because their talent, maybe tested positive and they needed a retest. So, and that's $1 million that they could lose on a shoot day, right? So we opened our own lab as an answer to that. So that way we always have someone available. We're always able to test and always do that. So we want to be the epitome and the best of everything that we're offering.
So with opening the lab, what was that process like? Especially, was it a lot to go through? Because that's heavy right there. You opened up a COVID lab.
It's a lot. It was a lot. So we have a bunch of equipment. I've learned a lot more than I ever thought I would know in the last 18 months about types of tests.
Wow.
Daphne is here with us. She knows. She's one of our testing managers as well. So we do a lot of rapid testing on location, and we also do the PCR testing in the lab. So we had to hire on people a lot smarter than I am to run that. And that's kind of their space. I tell them that's their house. They get to do what they want to do. I run the company. I don't run the lab. So.
You hear that, Nelly? That's what I be telling y'all. I run the company. I don't want to run everything else. See, Lisa said it. If Lisa said it, I can rock with it. So what is it like for you on the home side? When you come home from a long day, what is Lisa like?
Well, I have 3 kids and 2 dogs. So
your kids are so cute. Look,
Thank
them
you.
that baby on the red hair. I said, look at that baby right there. Look cute pie.
She is fiery. She is very fiery.
Aw.
So my husband actually works for the company as well. So he's the director of risk. So he has been gone on an international project basically the whole summer. So he actually got home the night before I flew out here to come to this.
Wow.
And he's here for a week, and then he flies out again to go back out on a project for a month. So the whole summer, it's basically,
just you and
wow. Doing everything. So I'm really fortunate to have a really strong team because at home I like to be mom. And I like to be, kicking it by the pool with my dogs and my kids and
just chilling.
Yes.
Away from the risk.
Yeah.
You want no risk at home.
No. Unfortunately, it still finds me. I still get calls on Saturdays all the time, right, Daphne?
So for you, growing up, did you ever imagine that you'd be doing this particular field?
No, I actually thought I would be on the other side of it. I grew up doing theater.
Really?
I did, yeah. So I actually did a video on that on TikTok because people kept commenting that I looked like Dorothy, which I thought was hilarious because I've never gotten that.
No, I don't know. But I could definitely see you as an actress, though. I could definitely see that.
So I played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz when I was in 8th grade.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did a lot of theater growing up. I did a lot of professional theater. So I really saw myself getting more into either doing theater or music management. That's what I originally wanted to go to school for, was music management. Yeah.
Wow.
So entertainment industry, just a different side of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll take that. So who are some of your favorite musicians, may I ask?
I love Adele.
Okay. That's my girl.
I love Common.
Okay.
I love the Killers. I'm really all over the place.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm more of a deep house fanatic. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But
yeah?
I am a techno lover.
Okay, my husband is too.
All day long. So your background, where did you grow up, Lisa?
I grew up in New Jersey. I grew up in the Jersey Shore.
Okay. And so when did you migrate to the Florida area? Because I know you guys have offices in Leesburg as well as
So Flagler Beach.
Okay, Flagler. Okay,
Yeah,
Flagler.
Flagler Beach, yep. So we have an office down there. I moved down to Florida originally when I was 19, and then I moved to Colorado. I lived there for about 6 years in Denver.
Really?
Yeah. And then
How
came
is
back
it
to Florida.
there?
Oh my God, I love it.
Really?
I love it. Although it is so much more congested now.
Okay,
There's
okay.
so many more people. When you go back to visit, I'm like, oh my gosh, the traffic is horrendous. It's like Atlanta traffic.
I was gonna say, is it
yeah.
Atlanta? Really?
It's, oh my gosh, yes. Yes.
Wow, I would not expect that.
Yeah, it's just like Atlanta traffic. It's crazy.
Wow, so
Yeah.
you're in Colorado.
Yeah, I
and
lived there
then-
for 6 years. Then I came back to Florida, be near my family, because my parents moved down to Florida after I did. They followed me, and then I left them again.
That's kind of okay. Took a risk. Okay, we'll take it.
Yeah. And yeah, so we started our company. I met my business partner through his wife, actually. I owned another company. I've owned and sold a few different companies before this, and she has always done my promotional products.
Okay.
So she's always been my swag girl. So she's probably watching us right now. Hi, Ange.
Hey.
So she just said, you have to meet my husband, Mike. You guys have to meet. You guys would make amazing business partners. And Mike and I originally started a different company doing corporate leadership training.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then with COVID and everything happening, we started, we went from one risk of making sure executives are doing what they needed to do and then turning it into,
This
TV
whole-
and film. Yeah.
Wow. So out of all the businesses that you've started, do you feel like Epitome Risk is like your favorite one thus far?
Yeah. This is my home for
Yeah?
sure. Yeah.
What is it about Epitome Risk that has called your heart more than the other businesses?
I love the challenge, and every day is a new challenge, and you really have no idea what any day is going to bring you, what any hour is going to bring you. I was out, Daphne picked me up from the airport yesterday, and we went out to dinner, and during dinner, she got a text message from a client of ours being like, can you run out and do 4 concierge tests for us right now? So she was like up until midnight doing doing testing. Yeah. So you just never
Wow.
know, and that was from us having dinner last night. So
Wow. So
yeah.
it's never a dull moment.
Never.
So
Never.
listen, I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest misconception about risk management for TV and film?
That we're like the little brother that nobody wants to bring to the party, but mom says you can't go without him.
I like that analogy. I was that person.
So, nobody wants us there necessarily until we're needed, right? So, we're really great. Insurance right now is changing the way that they're doing things.
Okay.
So we have really strong relationships with the insurance carriers. During COVID, interestingly enough, the insurance industry lost $4 billion just in TV and film insurance because of the way they wrote their policies. Yeah. So now they're all going back and changing their policies around communicable diseases. So things like COVID, right?
Yeah.
So it was originally written, I think, with like malaria or the stomach
And
flu
the
or something like
standard,
that.
yeah. Nobody had any idea that
So
COVID was
now,
coming.
right. So now if 30% or more of your crew gets
Mm-hmm.
sick, that's out of your pocket now as a production. So you have to pay for their salary. Insurance isn't going to cover it in many cases.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these changes are happening, and it's taking a lot longer for underwriting to happen. So typically it would be like, hey, we're having a film, we need a green light, you get insurance within 24, 48 hours. Now that's taking 4 to 6 weeks.
Wow.
Because now underwriting is a whole thing.
Process.
Yeah. So our risk assessments and our script analysis, we can just hand the packet to the insurance carrier and say, these are all the risks that we
And
see.
have all the hard body work done already.
Yep, and the underwriters love it because they say, listen, it just helps us.
You've made their job easier because
Yes.
you've gone and you've assessed the situation, and so you're giving them a trusted report
Yep.
of what's going on.
Yep, we have the subject matter experts without them having to pay for the subject matter expert, in the underwriting
Oh.
process. So yeah, so it helps everybody kind of work through the process a lot more smoothly.
Wow, you would never think about that process on the back end, insurance. Because I know we talk about events all the time and event insurance, but to have movie insurance, and then the communication between the insurance and then the risk,
Yep.
you never think about that thing.
Yeah, and then, like I said, they lost a lot of money, $4 billion just in the last, 18 months.
Now,
24
was
months.
that behind, just operations or people, unfortunately catching COVID? Or
It was because of people catching COVID, and then being able, you had to pay people still. So because of the way the policies were written, the insurance carriers had to pay for everyone's salaries when they had the 2-week quarantine time. Yeah. So, and productions, payroll every day is
yeah.
very high. Yeah. yeah.
So those insurance companies, they were not having it.
Yeah, they were like, we're gonna revisit how we.
Yeah, they had a meeting. We got to talk about this a little bit more because this is not working for us. This is our risk.
Right, right.
Wow.
Yeah. So now, not only COVID, now it's like, well, we're taking this chance to revisit communicable disease. We're going to revisit everything. Let's take
Yeah.
a look at how we're doing underwriting for everything. So our process makes it a lot more streamlined.
So you guys are truly the liaison between these producers as well as these insurance companies to make
Yeah.
sure that everyone's covered.
Yeah,
So-
my business partner actually talks about a lot. He was on a polar ice cap, and he will do risk assessments right there. And we have approval from the insurance carrier to do something, and production will say, hey, we actually want to film over on the other side of the river, and that wasn't approved by insurance yet. So he had to get on like a satellite phone and say, hey, we're gonna cross this river. Is that okay? And they were so concerned about the lens. That was the thing that they were most concerned about, because those lenses are not cheap.
Yeah.
So they were like, well, as long as you're the one carrying the lens across.
Wow.
But yeah, so we have to do that live and in person, being that risk manager on set, speaking to the insurance carrier saying, hey, this is the plan, this is how we're going to mitigate the risk, and this is how we're going to make it safer.
Wow.
Yeah. And then just to make sure it's covered, just in case we do drop the lens in the river.
Okay, how much are we gonna get back for this lens? 'Cause this lens is not gonna be it right here.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Mhm.
So when they talk about these big movie projects and weeks on end, is it safe to say that some of that time span is spent having to clear things with insurances to
Yeah.
make sure they can film, and that's kind of what adds to the process.
Yeah, sometimes that'll add to it. A lot of times, not planning things ahead of time or not seeing the location ahead of time. A couple of the shoots that we've been on recently, not having a risk person there for the location scout ahead of time slowed things down during production, because when we got there, we were like, well, wait a minute, time out. What about X, Y, or Z?
Yeah.
And then they thought, oh no, and then they have to get on with insurance, or they have to get on with the studio and say, hey, we need more money for this other thing that we didn't take into account.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's gotta probably be a really big kicker. Like, you're ready to film and you're ready to produce, and then all of a sudden it's like, hold on, we didn't think about, you didn't put on your left shoe first. That might be a risk. Your foot-
Exactly right. Or you need another boat that you didn't budget for because you didn't plan. Yeah. So there's a lot of things that come up that
Wow.
if you didn't plan properly ahead of time, then you're actually going to pay more in the long run.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Listen, when we come back, we're going to talk some more about risk management with Lisa Wilson of Epitome Risk and all these movies. I'm just, I know we on radio, but I enjoy interviewing people because I get to find out the information. I just think it's so amazing. So as you talk, in my mind, I'm like replaying all these movies. Like, ooh, I bet they got in trouble for that. What about Players Club? Was that a risk on the poll? Because I'm just saying. So listen, keep it locked and loaded. 101 TK Radio. We'll be back in a minute.
3, 2, 1.
One on TKO Radio. We are back in the building. It's your girl, I am Chelsea Speaks, and the wonderful Lisa Wilson of Epitome Risk. We are having some amazing conversations talking about all the risks behind TV, film production, everyday life, how COVID has affected business. Let's get into some funny stories about some things you've seen, So we're curious, what's one of the craziest situations you've been in with risk management?
So we were talking earlier about one of the scariest is polar bears, right? So apex predator. So they can go, 40 feet underwater and not be seen. They can scale mountains. They can run 25 miles per hour. So up in, the North Pole area, very northern areas, you can't really go anywhere without an armed guard with you because polar bears are so dangerous.
They running up like that?
No, they're running up like that, yeah.
You gotta have a guard?
Yeah. So you have to have an armed guard in certain areas because there's polar bears everywhere. So we, had to make sure when we had team in the water in the northern areas, making sure things like walruses, weren't taking down a boat, right?
Walrus is taking down the boat, Lord.
Yeah.
Lord. Well, you think when Noah got to build his ark, he put 2 walruses on there? I don't know, because they sound really, really aggressive. So I feel like they might not have made it. I don't know. So for you, with the whole experience, tell me what you enjoy about it the most and what I think concerns you about the industry the most.
What I love about it is I love watching the creative happen. There's a lot of downtime on set. A lot of downtime. People don't realize that until they're there. There's a lot of just sitting around waiting for the next shot.
Okay.
But there's so much genius behind a lot of it, and just watching the creative space, and it's really, really fascinating to witness. What worries me about the industry is just the sheer focus on creative and no real concern about the risk until it's almost like risk is celebrated. Like, oh my gosh, look at that amazing thing we just did and everybody's fine. Like, we're okay.
We made it.
Yeah, exactly. So that worries me. And I would really love to see that change. I would like to see that, we're a little bit more risk focused so that way people aren't getting heat stroke. I have a very dear friend of mine who was on a set. They drove out 2 miles into the desert in Nevada to film this scene, and nobody thought to bring extra water or ice. And they all ended up getting like heat exhaustion and like heat stroke and nearly died. All the talent. Yeah, it wasn't something that we were working on. This was years ago. But to this day, it affects this individual. And it's awful, right? So stuff like that happens on set all the time because they're just not thinking about some of those aspects.
Yeah.
So in Georgia, we had the unfortunate incident with Sarah Jones, who passed away. She got hit by a train with some of the shoot schedules were off, and they were just shooting.
Really?
Yeah. So we would love to avoid death and injury as much as we can. And like I said, in other countries, it is a required thing that someone's there managing things like that. So
what is the environment like when something happens on set and it's a risk and something blows up? Is it total chaos? Like, is there panic? What generally kind of?
It doesn't always have to be. Sometimes what we identify as a risk, we identify it ahead of time before it becomes that catastrophic, oh my God, moment. But, it's usually met with, oh, wow, yeah, I didn't really think about that, So we were able to avoid a lot of the catastrophe when we are there. And again, because of a lot of the veteran status, a lot of the people that we have on our team have seen war. They've seen the catastrophe. They've seen worst case scenario.
Yeah.
So they're very calm in those moments.
Gotcha.
They're the people that you want in those moments. They're the people that,
They're the
Mr. Rogers
epitome,
always said, look for the helpers, right?
Yeah.
And the people on our team are those helpers.
Wow.
Yeah.
So stunt doubles, do you work with them at all? Because I imagine those are the ones that really experience most of the risk.
Yeah, so we work with the stunt coordinators. So typically, we're not here to step on anybody's toes. We're definitely not here to be like, hey, do your job this way or this way. But we work with them a lot of times to say, hey, we're just looking at some of these things outside of what your job is. And that way we can come up with a better plan. We work a lot with intimacy coordinators too. That's a newer job since about 2018, since the Me Too movement started. Now you have intimacy coordinators that handle love scenes. and making sure everybody feels safe during love scenes. Yeah.
So wait a minute. So like when I'm watching movies, P Valley, the show, and they're having these intimate scenes, there's somebody there to kind of coach them through.
Yeah, it's like a choreographer.
I should have had that in my last relationship. I would have had a little choreography, y'all. I need an intimacy coordinator. Maybe that could be a nice little career path, intimacy coordinator. Nelly, write that down. I'm putting it on my little business card, intimacy coordinator. So there's someone are they talking to that person throughout? Are they?
So they work a lot ahead of time with both of the individuals that are going to be involved. And then there are garments that you can wear that don't show up in the shot.
Really?
But they're like little taped on patches that you can wear that make everybody feel safer. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, when there were kissing scenes over the pandemic, how did that happen?
So I did a video about it. I did a whole series on TikTok about my big fat Greek wedding.
Okay.
And what we would do if we filmed it during COVID. So what happened last summer, especially, they were using like a hydrogen peroxide oral rinse. And what happens with hydrogen peroxide?
Doesn't it break down?
It like bubbles and foams.
Bubbles.
So people were looking like rabid dogs as they were, making out. It was horrific.
So they had it in their mouths while they were.
So they had to rinse first.
Okay.
And then, there's like residual. They were like, oh
So
my
they're
gosh, they were
bubbling
still
up.
foaming at the mouth. So it ended up, I believe it's either Crest or Colgate, I can't remember off the top of my head, but they did a study that there was a specific ingredient, I name it in my TikTok videos, it's a very long name, killed 99.9% of COVID.
Oh.
So then they were able to switch to that oral rinse instead of the hydrogen peroxide, and everybody was very relieved because it was very uncomfortable.
I would think so,
Yeah.
and probably yucky
And lots
at
of
that
the
too.
editing and all of that kind of stuff to not see the foaming.
I it's so interesting because all these things are coming to mind, like kissing scenes, intimate scenes. Like, now, what about cooking shows? Do you think that they have risk management too?
We do those, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we do cooking shows, we do reality shows, we do.
Now, how's your take on reality shows, especially the ones that like they're fighting and stuff? Do you get into those?
So we've been there for them, but a lot of times with the reality shows, we were there from more of the COVID perspective.
Okay.
Have
Have you ever seen anything crazy pop off on a reality show?
There's been some crazy.
You didn't see her face. She's like, I want to keep my position.
There's been some interesting things for sure.
Wow.
But we've had some funny moments where we've been on some sets and we've had talent meditate through their testing window. It's a 4-hour testing window, and they meditated through it, and we had to send someone to their house to go do a concierge COVID test, which I thought was pretty hilarious.
Meditate through it.
I love meditating. I've never
For 4
meditated for 4 hours.
That's borderline sleep, isn't
Yeah.
it? Because at that point, you just sitting there. So they were
Yeah.
just the whole time just.
Yeah, so we ended up having to send somebody to them, which we do frequently.
Yeah.
It's a service that we offer. But yeah, so the reasoning was that they meditated through it, so they missed their testing window.
Okay. All right. Okay
Yeah.
then. So with your career, do you find that the actors you come across, are they more, I guess, paranoid than the production teams at times? If so, how do you kind of handle that?
I would say that's a 50-50 mix. We've been on productions where the talent takes it very seriously. We've been very recently on a production, especially with this new strain that's out. We've discussed that there is a very solid uptick in cases right now, where talent said, we're testing every single day. I don't
Okay.
care what happens.
Okay.
And we've done that. We've tested every single day, every single crew member. Other times, production is more concerned because obviously it's their dollar.
It's their dollar,
They want to
yeah.
make sure. But if there is no talent, there is no
production.
show. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. But it's a mix. It just kind of depends on, I think, personal
preference.
beliefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Wow. So out of curiosity, how does one enter the field of risk management? If you were talking to an average kid and they're like, I like movies and film, what steps would they need to take to even get involved in that career field?
I would recommend, especially right now with COVID still being, a thing that SAG is still looking at and the unions are still looking at, start out, get your certification. They have COVID certifications. Johns Hopkins offers one.
Okay.
Become a COVID PA.
Okay.
Production assistant. Start out that way, work your way up, really get to know production because that really ends ends up being the thing that production is most concerned about is how much production experience do you have? You know, as far as the risk management piece, we have a ton of people that have been overly qualified, again, because of the veteran status, but because they didn't have a whole lot of film experience, we have to get them on some other smaller productions to get them built up into that before we can bring them onto like the feature film or scripted television that we work on.
Gotcha. Well, listen, we come back. We're going to talk some more to Miss Lisa Wilson about epitome risk and how you can stop risking your life watching TV on 101 TKO Radio. We'll be back in a minute. 101 TK Radio, that's DJ Snake with Lean On, and we are leaning on with Lisa Wilson right now. Epitome Risk is in the building. Put your hands together one time. I don't know why I always come in like that. You would think I was like girl six or phone sex operator, the way I just kind of lean in with the mic really quick. Hey. So listen, before we go, I want to talk a little bit about team, the importance of team, the importance of building teams. We're in an era right now where entrepreneurs are dominating. We're popping up left and right, but we're also not thinking about the type of people we need, on our team as entrepreneurs and how that should look. So how did you go about selecting the people for your team? What qualities did you look for?
I go under the belief of I need to hire people that are smarter than I am, always, right? So, as the CEO of the company, you're a CEO, we are the trailblazers. We are the ones that say, this is the mountain, we're going to climb this mountain.
Yep.
I don't care how we get there.
You hear
We
that,
just got to
Billy?
get there.
We
right? This is where we're going, and that's what our job is. We have to work on the business, not in the business. So you need that solid team under you that says, hold up, wait a minute, did we remember to bring this gear? Did we remember to do this? Did we remember to pack extra water so we don't get heat stroke, right?
Exactly.
So you need that solid team under you of people that are smarter than you are. Mike is incredibly smart when it comes to all the risk piece of it. He's smarter than I am when it comes to any of that stuff. And he's forgotten more about risk than I will ever know, right? And I have other people on the team that are incredibly intelligent with the lab, right? And then also managing of people. I have our risk director who is our employee whisperer. He is the one who
Whisperer?
Yes.
Wait a minute now. Tell me, what is that now, the employee whisperer? Does he make sure the employees are good? Or?
Yeah, make sure everybody is where they need to be and happy and content, and make sure you're taking care of the people that are taking care of you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Take care of people that take care of you.
Yeah.
Wow. So in the future, what do you see for Epitome Risk in the next 5 months?
5 months. Well, I don't think COVID is going anywhere.
Okay.
Sorry, everybody.
Oh man, it's here. It's here.
I think that COVID testing will still be a thing, and some type of COVID responsibilities on set will still be here. I do see a bigger shift more towards the risk management piece and working more with the insurance carriers and getting that underwriting process streamlined. And I do see our lab is actually growing to offer other services as well outside of COVID. So we're going to start being able to bill insurance and things like that.
Oh, y'all rich. I'm just playing. Good credit. I smell good credit. No, I love it.
And, there's other needs too, for TV and film outside of the COVID testing, things like STI testing, you have dating shows.
Yeah.
And you have to be tested beforehand. Yeah. So.
Wow, I didn't even think about the dating shows.
Yeah. Yep. So that will be a service that we're starting to offer as well. So.
I love that. Do you guys offer services for my dating life? Because if you can assess the damage before I get through these dates, I promise I'll be.
We'll do a risk assessment of your first date.
Thank you. So something I want to touch on really quick is you also are open to doing risk assessment for like live events. We have a lot of our radio personalities. They do events. We're looking at TK October. So if someone is having an event, they can come to you and say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to plan this event. What are all my risks?"
Yeah, we can figure out all the schematics for you, all of your flow, because you do have a duty of care to your attendees. And then you also have to figure out your talent, who's going to be there, right? What are they going to require in their writers? Are they going to require COVID testing? Are they going to require, everybody's 6 feet away from me? Are they going to require certain things? So we can figure out all of those things and then also help you figure out, hey, with the city and the county and what those specific requirements are for those individual things. So we write, our risk assessments are usually hundreds of pages long.
Wow.
So that way you can provide them to your attorney, and in case there's ever an issue at all, you're covered to say, look, we took every reasonable step against this risk.
So even like event, management, you can communicate with the county and say, or say, hey, you need this license, this permit, and you get all the way down into, even if it's an alcohol, if you need a permit, do you even get down to that level
Yeah, we
too?
can let you know those things as well. Yeah, and very venue specific as well. So we work a lot with the venues. We worked a lot with the Atlanta Ballet. We were the official risk team of the Atlanta Ballet. So we did all their COVID testing for the Nutcracker and a few other performances after that into the spring.
Wow.
So we work a lot with the venues as well.
So when you work with those venues, do you get the opportunity to get free tickets for the Nutcracker? 'Cause I love the Nutcracker. Okay.
We did get a few tickets to the Nutcracker. Yeah, we did. I handed them out to some of our clients.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So essentially no project is too big or too small. Anything can be assessed with Epitome Risk, correct?
Absolutely. Mike, my business partner, and I, we always laugh that we pretty much never say no.
I don't think CEOs we ever say no if it's the name in the name of business.
Right.
So for our listeners out there, how can they get in touch with you, Lisa? How can they find you? How can they even just start the process if they're curious to see if they have something worth assessing?
Yeah, so they can go to epitomerisk.com. So it's EPITOMERISK.com, Epitome Risk. You can also, we have a live chat feature, so there's someone there 24 hours a day. So
It's
if you
a
have
real
question,
person?
it's a real person.
Okay, look, it's not AT&T. Shout out to AT&T.
It's a real person. And, or you can check me out. I'm on my live right now on TikTok, Epitome Lisa. And you can reach out to me there. We're also on Instagram, Epitome Risk, and on Facebook.
I love it. I love it. So do you have any shout outs you want to do before you hop off air? You want to say thank you to anybody? Hello to your team?
Yeah, hello to my team. Thank you so much for all the hard work. Everybody who is all across the country right now. Daphne, who has been my chauffeur and my my personal assistant, is back home in Florida. So Daphne has been her stand-in. She's been doing an amazing job. But thank you to my team internationally that I can just trust with anything, to be out there in the world.
It's a good feeling when you can trust your team, isn't it?
Totally.
When you can go to sleep and then wake up and still have your hair in your head.
Yeah.
Yeah. We appreciate those days. Well, it's been a pleasure having you.
Thank
It's
you so
even
much.
greater to have met you through TikTok. I think
Yeah.
that's like freaking crazy for those out there. The fact that you responded, I thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to doing some work with Epitome Risk 101 TKO Radio. We have some things coming up. So
exciting.
I look forward to just informing more people about, the process of risk management, because this is not everyday conversation,
Right.
but it needs to be had. It's like insurance. You want to have it, but you hope you don't need it, but you
Yeah.
got to have it at some point.
Yes,
So
exactly.
with that being said, we thank you once again. Keep it locked and loaded, guys, on 101 TKO Radio. Make sure you check out Epitome Risk, Lisa Wilson, and do not forget to check out her TikTok videos. Part 6 of The Wizard of Oz is coming soon. I'll meet you there. See ya. That was awesome.